I'm David Miller. I'm a director of photography based in Los Angeles. I'm a member of the American Society of Cinematographers. You know, I actually went to pharmacy school originally. I had worked in a pharmacy all through high school and that, but my real love was always film. And a few years into school, I realized it wasn't what I was going to want to do. And I was lucky enough that I had parents that were supportive, and they let me drop out of one school and enter another. So I went to film school in Connecticut. When I went to film school, everyone wanted to be a director, and I really wasn't very interested in being a director. I was interested in being a cinematographer. I was just always fascinated by photography. And when I was like 13 or 14, my mother used to take me to the 2-for-1 bookstore. So you'd bring in 2 paperbacks, you'd get one back. And I found this book called The Men Who Make the Movies. And in it, there was an interview with Douglas Slocum and an interview with Ozzie Morris. It was a very, very British-centric book. And I realized at that moment that that was a job, that people had a career doing this. And I wanted that career. And I'm growing up in a small town in Connecticut, so obviously you want to get out. And so I was lucky enough to meet someone who helped me get my union card. I had my union card while I was still in college, and basically, left school, moved to New York, and went to work as an assistant. So Morgan Sackett, who's the producer of Veep and also produces The Good Place, had tried to hire me numerous times, and I'm very friendly with David Hyman, who's the other producer. David and I had met when I was shooting parts of West Wing, and David was the first AD. And we had remained friendly, and he would always call every once in a while, but I was never really available. And so I was doing Scorpion for CBS, and that was ending, and the time kind of just butted up perfectly to go do The Good Place. And so I went and did The Good Place, and I've never really done any half-hour television before. It's always been pretty much 1-hour heavy episodic dramas, and I really enjoyed it. And so they were making a change on Veep, and they asked me to do it. And and I have worked at HBO before, and have a good relationship there. And so it just seemed like the right thing to do, and I did it, and I really enjoyed it, and I got nominated for an Emmy. So it was a good decision. So with Veep, it was kind of chaotic. There was no staging. It was, people looking left, eye lines, nothing ever matching. And so the first day it was really funny because they kind of went through their whole thing, and they said, "Okay, great, we're going to go." And I'm like, "No, wait. You're not going anywhere." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I said, let's just look at this. And I said, can you say this line this way? Can you come over here and stand? Just instead of making that false move, can you be here and say the line and then make the move? And rearranged like 8 or 9 things. And Julie was kind of like, "Oh, you're trying to control us." I said, "Well, no, I'm just trying to make it photographically acceptable," because I said it's not. And also, I said what's happening is because of the way it was laid out, they were always having to break it. So what I was able to do is basically to get it all set up that with 3 or 4 cameras, the whole scene can play out in one. So very rarely do I ever have to turn around or relight. I can usually get it jockeyed around that I can get 95% of it, and then just get it with a reframe, a resize, or a reset. And that became a real boon for them, because it became more of like almost live theater. And Veep is a show that it's all about the comedy. I mean, that's it exists to tell the joke, and the more time I can give them to tell the jokes, to work the material, the happier they are. And the other part of it is, because I do all the coverage at the same time, if someone delivers a joke or there's an ad lib, the reaction exists. You're not trying to recreate the reaction 45 minutes later after you've turned around. No, it's not. It's because what'll happen is the mechanics of Veep are very easy. I've got the set, I've got it pretty much pre-lit. you know, for all directions. So I very rarely have to add a lot of stuff. Maybe it's one or two little floor units or something very simple, but mainly I've got stuff hidden everywhere and, you know, a lot of LED lighting. Because of how I've got it set up now, I think it has helped them because the throwing in of new jokes and everything doesn't break everything up. And I've also then given them time because I know they used to have some time issues, but we've got it figured out so well now that, and the operators understand the show extremely well too. You know, that's such a big part of it, that they know, you know, the sizes that are going to be needed and how it's going to play out. So as I kind of mold it, you can see the operators walking into position to where they know they're going to be. So they, you know, there's not a lot of talking amongst us. It's, you know, it goes together pretty seamlessly. I think I go back to like in Citizen Kane when they're talking about making money, and Bernstein says, you know, if you want to, you know, there are a lot easier ways to make money. You know, if you're getting into the business just for financial reasons, it'll be a horrible mistake, because the amount of pain that you're going to have to go through to get to a point in where your career really works is a lot. You know, there's incredibly long hours. There's, you know, personal sacrifice, there's family. Listen, you know, ASC is like another divorced cameraman. That's, you know, all of us. So, you know, it's not a simple career. You really have to love this. This, you know, it's not a job, it's a calling. Because my reality is, I don't really want to hear about the gear. I'm not interested. You know, I have more important things to deal with. All I want to know is that the assistants are happy. That's really what it comes down for me. If the assistants are unhappy, then I'm unhappy, and then I'm going to get on the phone. But because of the types of shows that I make, you know, Desperate Housewives or the Newsroom, they're pretty straightforward photographically. And so, you know, I want a rental house that, you know, can supply me everything I need and keep the assistants happy.